Today we're talking to Justin Cragg, our customer service manager. And specifically, we're talking about delivering a true custom home experience and how it relates to commissioning the home and following up with customer service for an indefinite period of time for all of our clients. Certainly, I want to talk a little bit about you and your history here, how long you've been here, and that kind of thing. And then we'll dive into what you specifically do and the process that drives it. So,
sounds good.
Tell us, you've been here how many years?
This is my 7th year with Reisinger Build. I started January of 2019. Started off working on our Build RH crew and have transitioned into Reisinger Build's customer service manager.
Interestingly enough, we have nothing but glowing reviews from clients about your ability to help them navigate the nuances of complex custom homes and all the systems that go into that. But I want to spend some time talking about that process itself.
Sure.
So somewhere about the time a project manager takes a project to final inspections, let's just say that the project is 85, 90% complete. Project manager schedules all of the municipal inspections, the private inspections, and has authorization from all those entities to have the utilities turned on. And that seems to be about the time that the project manager introduces you to the project and to the client. So what is that transitional experience like for you?
Yeah, so usually, like you said, we're kind of getting to that finish line with our home. The project manager's been, involved with the client from startup. And I kind of come in, usually how it works, the project manager will introduce me to the clients. Like I said, we're kind of at the finish line, so they've got a good idea of what their home looks like, feels like. And what I do is come in and make sure that, everything's tightened up. We've finished our whether it's HVAC system, home automation, finishes that need to be finished up, a lot of paint usually, just kind of get them to final. They're living in their home comfortably and enjoying it as much as they can.
Right. And that can involve things from site work outside the building envelope, things that need to be finished outside, maybe, or tweaked, or structural things that might need to be resolved. Windows, doors, plumbing systems, electrical systems, air conditioning systems, all those have to be integrated. And then at the same time, we have to make sure that how they interact with the finishes, like wall plates, how they interact with the drywall and the paint around them. That's just a minute example. Or how plumbing fixtures interact with the hard surfaces that they're mounted to.
Yeah.
So every one of those may require some little amount of adjustment or tweaking, which involves as many as several trips from each one of those contractors.
Sure.
Maybe even sourcing some additional parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of a dance at the end.
Right.
We gotta. Everything is there, but once the client takes possession, lives in the home for a few weeks to a month or so, some of the finished stuff is right there in front of you, but a lot of it, whether it's HVAC or the home automation system.
So much of the house is organic material, wood and things that have a tendency to move relative to the environment they're exposed to. So as the mechanical air conditioning equipment is turned on and the house begins to climatize, you begin to see like doors that shrink, or walls that shrink because the lumber begins to dry out. And so maybe an adjustment to a hinge, or some caulking to some finished materials or something. Sure. That's normal.
Yeah,
right?
Totally normal. And sometimes, or a lot of times, something that, kind of people don't think about, right? It's, it's a process, right? There's always something. We're striving for perfection, but you gotta make some tweaks before you get there.
Right.
So.
Another thing that seems like you and I've talked about in the past is how we build a home and we finish a home relative to it being vacant. No one's experiencing how the home's performing.
Sure.
And once the clients move in and they're there 24/7, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, the living experience needs to be adjusted slightly.
That's
or
right.
tweaked slightly.
And it's always different from home to home, client to client.
Right.
You know, there's not a set standard of how, you know, for instance, HVAC, how people like to, you know, some people like it at 65, some people like it at 75.
Right.
And so
we had a client who'd like to sleep at 65
right,
degrees,
yeah.
right?
That's
And
a
a lot
tough,
of air conditioning
sell
equipment's not
sometimes.
really meant for that,
No,
right?
Not at all.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point, a great topic. How do you work with clients and communicate with them so that they have good expectations and they understand why the home is performing or reacting a certain way?
Sure.
How do you draw them into that process?
I mean, the number one thing that I strive for is communication. With good communication, you know, every week at the end of the week, an email sent out. Is there anything new that I don't know about that I need to be, you know, aware of? But really, communicating through the whole process, I think, is what's made my job and makes me, you know, able to help out our clients is through communication. You know.
Right. You ever have clients text you on the weekend?
All the time. Yeah, all the time. I'm a 24/7 job, and that's okay. That's what I've been doing, you know, for years. And 9 times out of 10, it's never, you know, it's not going to be something that's, you know, I can't take care of. So usually, I got a call this weekend on one of our flow logic systems for plumbing, and I had to go over there on Sunday and make sure it was working properly and there wasn't a leak. So.
Wow. Wow. Well, hopefully those clients appreciate your extra effort.
I think they do.
Right. What tools do you have available to you to help you navigate that? In other words, all the entities that you need to reach out to and all the material suppliers that you need to be aware of to source material and source individuals or companies to come tweak or repair or manage those systems.
That was something I think in the beginning of my, you know, my experience as a customer service manager was getting to understand where I need to source materials. You know, we use Monday.com app, which is really great as far as my, you know, using Monday.com as a way to, you know, as I go through my commission list, I make notes. I know where I need to source, you know, material, or if it's you know, caulking, or if it's paint. You know, I kind of have an idea. If it's locally, I've been doing it a little while where I know kind of, I might have to ask you a question every once in a while, but I pretty much know where I need to go to source that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the trade relationships that we have, I mean, from plumbers to framers to roofers, how has that experience been for you when we have to reach out to them and say, hey, this little corner needs to be dealt with, or this faucet needs to be adjusted, or whatever? How has that been?
I'm lucky in the sense that Reisinger Build, we've got a great relationship with our trades. We've done business with them for a long time. We've got kind of a constant crew of guys that we work with. You know, there's new ones here and there, but I've got a great relationship with the trades. I think that's also something that's helped me along the way is, you know, I value their time, they value my time. And I, you know, try to give everybody as much lead time as possible, heads up. You know, obviously there's times where I need somebody tomorrow or yesterday, and usually they're there to accommodate us because we have such a great relationship with our trades.
Good. If you had a list, let's say 3 or 4 things that you could think off the top of your head that you could tell project managers, hey, during construction, make sure and do these things, because it seems to be something that we often run into and have to continue to tweak or adjust. Is there anything that comes to mind, whether it's a plumber or window installation?
Installation. HVAC being one of those, like I think we touched on earlier, is that it's kind of it's a custom experience from client to client. People live differently in their homes, you know, whether they like it cold or hot. Paint touch-ups is always, you know, that's always something throughout the process. We're really good at protecting finished surfaces. But you know, throughout the time, there's going to be some nicks here and there. We're always doing some paint touch-ups. You touched on windows and doors. Yeah. A lot of our windows and doors are, you know, our details are very, very, you know, precise and have a lot of engineering that go behind them that I think a lot of people maybe don't understand. And so yeah, that's something that definitely I I work with.
Have there ever been any structural things that I think one or two times you had some issue that some framing member or something dealt with? Can't remember exactly what that was. But.
Yeah, that's kind of an outlier usually. But when something like that does come up, obviously, we communicate that with the clients. We try to be as timely as possible to get a fix in like that. We try to be as least intrusive as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of times with the structural stuff, depending on where we are in the stage, you got to take a little off to get back to it. So,
right.
But yeah, I think structural wise, like I said, it's huge. There's not a whole lot that we deal with there. But when it does come up, it's kind of an intrusive thing if you got to get back in there and fix something structural. So we'll relay that to the clients, and I think we've done a great job when it does come up that we nip it in the bud fast.
Good. Every project we have has a combination of steel structure and wood structure.
Yep.
And it's two dissimilar materials trying to work together.
Marry those
together. They react differently to temperature and humidity and all those things. And so just that movement, as I said earlier, causes us to, if nothing else, have to adjust doors or repair minor drywall cracks or even stucco cracks, right?
Sure.
I think that's another thing. Yeah. You've probably had a number of people say, why is my stucco cracking?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Stucco is one of those, where you're never going to get perfection, right?
Right.
And it performs. A lot of the stucco products too. They're meant to get wet, and we've got barrier behind there. The stucco can be, you look at hairline cracks, you think possibly, there's something going wrong there. 9 times out of 10, there's not. It's meant to be, and they want to fix those cracks, even if they're superficial, just for the look.
Right.
So.
Right. And that's challenging on a white or near white background.
It is, yeah. You get an integral color stucco. You can't just go and fix the stucco and paint it. It needs to be. We have to source that exact integral color stucco, and it takes a little work, but we've done it plenty of times.
Right. And sometimes you have to sort of float it out corner to corner.
Corner to corner. Yeah.
You can't just patch it.
That's right. I mean, if anybody knows about painting, a lot of times you can't just touch up, you got a hole in your wall. You can't just touch up that spot. You got to paint the whole wall.
Right.
So sometimes, and with stucco too, you can go from touching up, you can touch it up small areas, but usually you're having to take on a little bit more than you would think.
Right. I think the couple of times that we've had some minor plumbing failures, like an ice maker connection that dripped, possibly a washing machine line that broke or something. But it's only been in the last, 4 or 5 years that people have begun using leak detection devices.
Huge proponent of the leak detection. It's awesome.
Right.
It's whether you get there's a few different ones on the market, and I'm a fan of them. They do what they need to do.
Because you've seen the damage they can do when they go undetected.
I have. That's right. Yeah. Right. And so we've experienced that once or twice where the home did not have a leak detection system. Something like you said, the ice maker behind the finished cabinetry, small pinhole leak. And it takes a little while for you to find out that, hey, we've got water back there. Yeah. With a leak detector, it's going to alert you right away.
Right.
You've got, however many ounces it's flowing per hour, you know that something's going on.
Yeah. I think as a general rule in our estimates and budgets nowadays, we kind of include an allowance for that.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
right.
almost mandatory.
Yeah, and really from what I understand too is the homeowners get some sort of break on home insurance as well when you install those. So it's been I think all of our clients have kind of gone towards having one of those for sure.
Yeah. I want to switch to a little different question for you. During this completion or commissioning process, before the clients move in, we generally try to do a really good job finishing up and touching up all the paint, right?
Yep.
So that when the clients take possession and they actually move in, the house is very pristine, crisp,
absolutely
well touched up. How many projects have you had where the clients didn't do any damage at all moving into the house?
None. Not one. Not a one.
All right.
Whether it was them or the movers or, trades. But yeah, usually it's pristine when we hand it over. The move-in process, happens, whether it's a nick here or a little drywall, spot here or there. It's usually nothing, too crazy. But yeah, after a few weeks after they've moved in or a month or so, there's usually a day where I say, okay, I know you guys have been here you moved in for a while. We've got everything settled in. Let's take out the blue tape and let's go and let's fix everything so that we're
right. And I think that's the common process, is to give the clients a small roll of blue tape and have them mark things that they want to get addressed. And I think it's important to point out that that's just part of our process. We know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We assume it's going to happen. And so we allow for it. And that's why we have a quote unquote commissioning line item in our budget to allow for those things that we know are going to happen, that are going to continue to need to be addressed or, as I said earlier, tweaked.
Yep.
And how long do you think that process typically lasts? After the clients move in and they've settled in and begun using it, sleeping there, cooking there, bathing there, how long does that process of continuing the commissioning generally last? So
I think I like to look at like a 6 to 8 week. I think that kind of depending on the client and the situation, if they're, if this is their full-time home, I think, they really get a sense. We have some clients that build homes that it's not, their full-time home, which is, so it might take a little longer in those instances, but I think 6 to 8 weeks is about right. Maybe a hair longer here and there, but I think, between a month or two, 1 month to 2 months is usually about right.
Okay. All right. And how many of our clients continue to draw on you as a resource long after that?
I would say a good amount. And that's kind of something that I enjoy. Client interaction and client satisfaction is something that drives me. So I enjoy it. I don't really enjoy the Sunday at 8:30 at night calls, but that's kind of something that drives me. So I would say that a good percentage of our clients, and even if it's just a phone call to, like you said, hey, Justin, where can I source this? Or who do I need to get a hold of to fix this issue? Right. And I'm more than willing to help out.
Oftentimes those people need you or draw on you as a resource. What's the one client who's continued that for the longest period of time? And you don't have to name names.
Yeah, we have a client. When I first started working with Reisinger Build, we were doing a large addition remodel at a pretty good sized home, an older home built, I believe, in the late 90s. Right. And that client relationship has lasted, until today. I'll be there at some point today to check on some stuff we've got going on. Wow. So yeah, we've got some clients, and that's not the only one. We've got some clients that before my time at Reisinger Build, some houses that we've built, 10 years ago. I have relationships with those clients due to some service stuff, and then sometimes that translates into new work. We want an addition above our garage, or so. There's the longest lasting service client that I've had has been. I've had them for 7 years.
7 years, yeah. Wow. I think that speaks to something that's important for people to understand, and that is that we talked about clients moving in and beginning to experience how the house interacts with them.
Sure.
And this concept of becoming comfortable, finding the comfort level that they want, finding the convenience level that they want, and having the right control over all those systems takes a while for them to get adjusted to.
Sure.
At some point, as evidenced by the client you're just discussing, they discover, well, the house is great, and now we've got what is here tweaked to my satisfaction. Mm-hmm. But we realize now that we're living here that we should have had this feature, or we should have added this room, or we should have
put the sauna here and retrofit the sauna. We've done that before.
So a new home custom project, after the clients move in and the customer service is even complete, becomes a remodeling or addition
project.
Then you, of course, continue to manage that with those clients and service whatever they need. Even sometimes working with design professionals to make sure it's designed the way they want.
That's right. Yeah. Right? Yeah. There's been plenty of instances where, we've built a home and let's say a year later, I brought up the sauna. That was one that we did that was cool. They wanted a built-in sauna, and that wasn't on the original plans when we did the original build, but we were able to make it work. And so there's been plenty of instances where, where we've done stuff like that, and we're more than willing to help out.
Well, good. Well, I think that speaks well for you, and it hopefully speaks well for us, because we try to view our clients as long-term assets or relationships that have meaning for us and meaning for them, so that they can continue to enjoy their home and add to it or tweak it or adjust it or maintain it. Mm-hmm. Let's talk. Yeah, that's a great topic. Let's talk about maintenance. All right. So, and I think I've said in the past, the difference between a 100-year home and a 500-year home is just maintenance. Right?
Absolutely.
And so if people maintain their homes properly, they tend to last a whole lot longer and perform better and cost less utility-wise.
Yep.
How much of what you do is just ongoing maintenance for clients?
I'd say it's, 50-50. Really, I think too is communicating with clients on there's things that some clients don't understand require maintenance. Right. You've got high-end finished wood trim or saw that's a stain that it'll look great for a couple years, but it's a maintenance issue. You've got to go in every 2 to 3 years to do a restain or something along those lines with some of these higher end finishes. But yeah, I think communicating that what needs to be maintained on their end.
We should produce, if we don't, and you're in your introduction to the clients and you're working with the clients, a good comprehensive list of things that they will need to do or maintain or manage for years to come.
Sure.
What's the most common thing that you see that needs regular routine maintenance that clients need help with?
A lot of exterior, I think maintenance wise, that when you get a house of a Reisinger build quality, that they don't understand that it does cost, like you said, caulking. There's a lifespan on some of that kind of stuff. And if you want your windows and doors and stuff like that to perform as they should, it's a maintenance issue.
Right.
But yeah, I would say for the most part, it's an exterior. A lot of staining, painting. We were talking about stucco earlier. If you want, no hairline cracks in your stucco, that's a maintenance issue that's going to come up every 3, 4, 5 years. But yeah, I would say mostly an exterior. Exterior finishes is probably the number one thing for maintenance.
Okay. Do you notice that any particular architectural style or architectural features are easier or weather the environment better? I know we've had more modern designs that have lower or less overhang. So they don't have an overhang. Are those generally harder to maintain or generally require more frequent maintenance?
They do, yes. The homes with not a whole lot of overhang, your parapet roofs, your flat, those things definitely come into play. Modern builds, especially in Austin, Texas, are that design is we've built a good amount of them. They have some. They're beautiful. They do come with a few drawbacks here and there, and the drawbacks usually are a maintenance. Being on top of that kind of maintenance stuff. So, but yeah, I think. For the most part, I can't really pinpoint one or two specifics, but I always go back to. I feel like for the most part, maintenance is exterior finishes.
Is it just fair to say generally that the more complex the geometry, the more complex the architectural design is, the more the client should expect to have to address maintenance issues?
Sure. We've used the word prototypical. We built some houses with some designs that have never been done before. And so
pretty much everything we
pretty
do
much
has
everything.
never been
That's
done
right.
before.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. Our clients that build homes with us have an expectation and are understand too, like to your point, that there is some, some tweaking going to happen on some of these higher end designed, modern, no overhang, parapet roofs, roof drains. There's definitely some give and take with that for sure.
Okay. Well, that's good information for our clients to understand. And I would say that it's hard for us to do that delicate dance during design because you don't want to discourage clients from designing the home that they love the aesthetic of, right? And so but it is important for us to give them at least a hint of the way those features or those products installed in that geometry may perform over time.
Yeah, and I think we do a great job of setting expectations and again, communicating to the client what we anticipate. And yeah, there's definitely some, like you said, it's a dance.
Right. It is a dance.
It's a dance.
Right. The feedback that I get, Justin, if we don't say this enough, is that clients really enjoy working with you, and they really enjoy the experience and the knowledge, the resources that you bring to them. And having that, I mean, I know if, as compared to a client who would go and buy a home that's an existing home that's, been used before, and it already, when they buy it, has some things that need to be addressed. They're starting from scratch. They don't have that resource. They don't have some individual to call that can manage everything and anything that they need. And so one of the joys of the custom home building experience is that you get the builder, is that the builder is there at your service, at the client's service, to not only build the home, but service and maintain the home for any length of time that the client needs us. We're glad to keep that relationship alive.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. It goes back. Our relationship with our clients, I think, is one of the many things that sets us apart. And I'm more than glad and always happy to help. And I enjoy it.
Right. And I think the difference is, and it's not just resale homes versus new homes. It's spec homes versus custom homes.
That's
because spec home builders, typically, some of them build a really nice home, but it's a commodity.
Yes.
Right? They're building a product, they're selling a product, and the product has a given, strict, limited, definite warranty on it. Right?
Yep.
And there's very little customer service involved. It's just like, if there is something that breaks, sure, we're going to try to get it fixed for you.
That's right.
But outside of that, there's not a lot. And so the custom home experience should be more than just building a home. It should be a long-term relationship. And I think we try to do a good job of that. And thanks to you, we seem to be doing a pretty good job.
I think we do a great job of it. Yeah, I think it's, again, what's kind of sets us apart a lot of times from different builders. And yeah, we do a good job of it.
Well, thank you for this. And not only do we appreciate your 7 years of service, but future years to come. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
All right.